Relationships are important to me. My mother was a in-home hospice nurse, and my grandfather was a family medicine doctor who did house calls. So growing up, I knew that health happened in the home. And when I went into residency, I realized there's a lot of challenges with the health system. The relationship that I wanted with patients, I wasn't making and forming, and that was really disheartening for me. After I graduate residency, I learned about the American College of Lifestyle Medicine through the Cabarrus Health Alliance, and so I said, well, why not? I'm gonna do one of the trainings, and I did the training, and then I said, well, why not? Why not just try with a few patients? And so I tried in clinic, and I noticed that some patients wanted more information, and I was like, wow, I wish I could spend another hour with you to really go over even more details. I felt like I was coming up short. So I said, well, what if I just go to your home and we continue this conversation? The first time I saw Ebony was in 2021 as a clinic patient.
I was in fear just of the world in general. I was in a terrible mental space. It caused me not to be able to or want to even go outside of my home. By smoking a lot and drinking a lot, I ended up having a very bad, severe cough. So I was forced to go into the clinic and see Dr. Nance.
In January of 2023, our visit was different. It was remarkable. When I walked in, I felt a heaviness in the air. She looked distressed, and I realized that I would not be doing my job if I just left and gave her the prednisone and the doxy and said, see you next time. So I asked her, I said, would it be helpful if we spent more time together? I feel like there's more to learn about you. And she was like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I do home visits. I make house calls for patients and families that are highly motivated to be healthier, but they need just a little more guidance on what to do next.
And he said, I can come visit you at your home since it's a challenge for you to come out of your house. So I'm like, oh yeah, sure, you're gonna come and visit me? Okay.
I say, hey, it gives me a chance to get to know you. Maybe we talk about healthy eating, just kind of get you back on track. She said, yes, immediately. And that's been a common thing, is that when you offer a home visit from a provider and you want to help them on their lifestyle journey, people say yes. And it's really key when people are motivated that you meet them where they are and you meet them now. And we did that home visit the next day.
I did not believe that Dr. Nance was going to show up at my front door. It made it very, very personal for me. I invited them in the house and just kind of sit there, and he allowed me to just speak.
I usually take a few minutes to say, look, what I want to do is spend about 30 minutes getting to know who you are. What's important to you? What is driving you to be healthier? What is life like?
And then he reiterated my story back to me to let me know he was listening to every word I said. I began to just open up.
I noticed a burden release from her. Her shoulders relaxed. She smiled. At the end of that 30 minutes, I usually hand them a lifestyle medicine at home card that has those 6 areas of lifestyle medicine. And I recommend that they focus in on 1 or 2 areas. And we came up with very specific goals for Ebony.
Definitely individualized the goals for me, made it realistic.
Maybe walk to the mailbox twice a week on Monday or Thursday. 1 handful of grapes on the weekend when you're at the farmer's market.
So with that prescription and my discipline, it all came together. I even called Dr. Nance I have so much energy, I don't know what to do. What he's like, Ebony, just walk it off. Just walk it off. I was a totally new Ebony.
6 weeks later, I messaged Ebony and I said, how are you? Now, I had started Lexapro and I had started some other medicines for her. And she says, I am doing great. And I said, well, what if our next meeting, let's meet and let's go for a walk. We met at the research campus and we walked together. And what was really striking about what Ebony talked about is she asked me, how did you help me get here? What did how did you help me this much? So I started talking to her about motivational interviewing, and she kept asking me more questions. And then she asked me more questions about lifestyle medicine. And I said, wait a minute. Ebony, you're a completely different person than I remember 6 weeks ago. You really want to learn a lot. I've got 5.5 hours of CME from American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Let's try it. She finished the 5.5 hours of CME in the weekend. I was surprised that I had only had 1 visit and had not had any more conversation with her, but yet she took this information and ran with it. And I also was surprised that she really never started the Lexapro. For her, it was all lifestyle. And I'm I'm gonna prescribe medications when needed, but patients find it very helpful to know that it doesn't have to be only medications. She messaged me a couple weeks later and said, I'd like to start a walking group.
I was walking for my own healing. And he just asked, would you like to walk with my patients? And I'm like, sure, I'll walk. They can come walk with me. I would love it. I would love a walking buddy. So it started out with one patient. We were walking and walking. Then before I knew it, I had like 5.
And I said, well, why don't you put a flyer together and say, hey, this is going to be Ebony's walking group, and put some details. And I helped her think through some logistics. I want you to take that flyer. I'd like you to present this to me and Roy.
When I met her, she was able to espouse to me the benefits of the program unscripted. Andrew had been running the program for about a year or so, and he said that he needed support. He needed a support team. We worked to get the budget for it, and he wanted to hire. He says, my first hire will be Ebony. And we all stood behind him 100%. Who else to advocate for the benefits of lifestyle medicine at home other than someone that the program has truly changed their life?
As a peer support specialist, she works closely with patients on their own journey.
It was always in me to help, but this was the path right here. I walked right into my passion, literally.
The approach to caring from people comprehensively from the inside out has a lifetime impact on these individuals. And I truly believe that all of our efforts around addressing health equity, eliminating health disparities, I believe the LMAT program does all of that. As healthcare providers, as healthcare is a business, if we create access, more people will be able to have the healthcare services that they deserve.
In the clinic, I do not feel obligated to spend as much time with patients. Before LM at Home, I was notoriously behind. After LM at Home, when I look at my panel of my clinic day and I realize that I've seen home visits for 50% of these patients, I'm okay spending 8 minutes in the room. And what I've found is that they don't need to see me as often. When you get patients off their insulin, they don't need to check up with you every 3 months.
And most times you're impacting their families as well.
It's not uncommon for one house call to be 3 generations with 5 patients. So the idea that you can only see one person per household is not the case.
The whole house is having a lifestyle shift versus just the one patient. So it's like a ripple effect. Lifestyle medicine at home is so important to incorporate in our future healthcare.
I'll never not practice this way. This is how I practice. And for Ebony, it was really powerful because not only did it help give her a little hope, it gave me hope that I could actually help.